Alrighty, here we go. YouTube friends, dominators, raiders, co-leaders, allies, everybody. So today we're going to check out and review a blog post that was posted yesterday by BHG community manager Harmels. Anyways, so we got a little post here to check out, um, and it's about defense. Now, before we get into it some more, I do want to lay some lines about what's going to be my initial thoughts on this. We're going to read it and check it out, but I do want to point out and say that so I have been gone for about 3 to 4 years. I've been away from the game, and I probably came back like 2 weeks ago, and yeah, so I missed quite a bit, I've missed out in the game, but anyways, I was just kind of saying that. So, I mean, I'm still kind of far back 3 years. So, take my thoughts with a grain of salt here. So, I'm going to try not to inject too much of my thoughts into it because I know I've been out for a while. But, anyways, we're still going to look at this. I haven't got around to even reading this. I've kind of been waiting. I'm a day late on looking over this, but that's okay. So, anyways, let's check it out. So, what do we got here? So I guess they had a survey, okay? So they said in our last survey we asked how you felt of the current balance of where the balance of domination stood. So over the last few months we have seen the start of a vocal sentiment that defense felt a bit too strong. So they gave two perspectives here, a multiplayer perspective and a war perspective. Now, I'll be honest, I think I can comment probably a bit more on the multiplayer perspective. For the war, I can't say too much. I've been gone a long time. I'm not really playing at that higher level I was before. Kind of just chilling, taking my time. But, anyways, so I'm kind of looking forward to check out the multiplayer stuff a bit, just see what people think. But, yeah, so they did a survey, which sad I missed it. I definitely would have got involved in the survey, but like I said, I've been gone. So over 30,000 people participated in the survey. Huge. So let's see here. So we got some nice pie graphs and charts. So this one starts off with multiplayer. So let me read this, and then I'm gonna look at this chart. So for multiplayer, there's a large large group that feels the experience is well balanced. Um, Favoring defense more. Okay. The next highest majority feels like it's skewing towards defense. Yep. After examining battle data, we noticed that this is a very small trend of increasing difficulty in achieving victories. I mean, obviously. Um, it's also worth noting that some players tend to lose on purpose for various reasons. I mean, there's like two reasons I can think of, right? We had two reasons. The biggest one, medal dropping, right? The second one, you're looting and running. You see farms on the outside, you see gold, you take it, you don't care for a star, you get out of there. You see oil, same thing. So, anyways, yeah, so that makes sense that they didn't, they took that into account. But, so yeah, so what else we got? So, this type of play does let us know that it's much more convenient to purposely lose at certain levels to chase a more fun experience in other parts of the game. Yeah, I mean, going back to the medal dropping, I mean, yeah, I mean, your higher medals, you're probably gonna have less fun because you're getting they're giving you much harder bases for the most part. Um, so yeah, so I do want to interject with that and say something, but I am curious on. It would have been nice. Maybe this would have been too much info for them, or it was maybe kind of irrelevant. It would have been nice to know like the average like level and age, in-game age of the players that voted for this because that actually makes a huge difference. Which is why, um, if you go on the community, like the community places, which is probably just Discord at this point, that's all it's really talking about this since it's been posted. A lot of people are kind of laughing at the numbers that well, maybe not so much for multiplayer. Actually, I'll get to that on the war side. Um, anyways, for so multiplayer, so what do we got? So they're trying to say 41% is balanced. Okay, 34% favor defense, or that it favors defense. 25% says it favors offense. Um, I mean, this seems pretty balanced, and I mean, I'll be honest. I've been gone. I'm back. I know defense is very strong right now. Multiplayer really doesn't feel that much different, and you can kind of play it however you want as well. Um, so I mean, at the end of the day, we get an instant retrain blessing, so we got stuff like that. So you can kind of just throw the kitchen sink in multiplayer. So, um, yeah, I mean, I think multiplayer is fine. I could see why there wasn't really too much. Well, not really too much to say in all this. I guess for some reason I thought there was a lot more explaining from them on this, but looking at it now, it's only like a paragraph. It's two paragraphs. If I mean, yeah, two paragraphs if that per chart. But anyways, so yeah, I mean, I feel like multiplayer is fine. You drop medals if it gets too hard. You get your blessing down, you throw the kitchen sink. I mean, even then, if you don't have a blessing down, it still feels kind of the same. If the battles really do start to get that hard, you just kind of medal drop, and it still feels that way, and it was like that before. Um, the average medal count is definitely higher than it ever was since I've been gone because, for instance, I'm probably like 4K medals on my main account, and I don't think I've ever rated that high, even with the retrain blessing 3 years ago when I was playing a lot. Which, either way, once you get up that high, you medal drop, you know, unless there's the people that don't like doing it. I mean, play how you want to play, but um, eh, maybe it should be more balanced. It's hard to say. There's people that build defensive museums for multiplayers, people that don't. I mean, either way, you fight. Bases your age, not even just like the highest age, but bases your age, and it's difficult at the end of the day. They have all their traps. Like either way, and multiplayer is much quicker. You're going through bases. You don't have time to plan your attack really. You get 30 seconds to look at it, if it's even that. I think it's less than that, but you get you it's you can have error in multiplayer. It's fine. It's it's not that end of the world. It's not like your attacks are on the line like war, but yeah. So um oh my gosh, I kept looking at 35. Yeah, kept looking at the wrong one. Yeah, 41%. Okay, that's more like it. I just looked at the war one, but yeah, I don't really see much of an issue, except when you're just fighting like the biggest of bases. Like, sure, it's more difficult. They probably have blessings up. They have traps. Actually, it's very difficult, but just yeah, metal drop or something, I guess. But it makes sense. I feel like this is fair. Um, maybe yeah, I don't know. Maybe the favor offense is a bit too high. I wouldn't say it favors offense. Well, yeah, I mean, I guess sure. I mean, I crush almost every base in multiplayer with the blessing until I get high enough in metals to where I'm skipping a lot more. But yeah, that's cool. That's fine. So the chunky stuff. So World War stuff. So very short paragraph right here. If like one, two, a paragraph. So for World War, it's very clear that majority here believe that defense is favored, right? Mm-hmm. So they wanted more information. So they wanted what is the most difficult part to deal with as an attacker and a defender. So let's look at those who were surveyed felt that was the most difficult to deal with while on the attack. Okay, but so let's I want to look at this. So I mean, mind you, I do believe too that this survey, because they had numbers, right? Yeah, 30,000. I swear there was extra numbers somewhere down here. Okay. Oh, they added it here also, but so World Wars. I mean, almost 50% of people are saying 42% of people are saying it favors defense. Okay, did they just not do good? Okay, I'm sorry, but I'm reading this. This group of responders feel multiplayer battles favor defensive players. Did they just not edit this? I'm sure this will say World War multiplayer. Okay, that's a typo, right? For sure, a typo. Almost 50% say it's favoring defense. Yeah, I mean that's a large amount. 35% say it's balanced. I mean, with the majority of the players being halfway through the ages in this game, like what? I mean, I couldn't even tell you off the top of my head what's actually halfway, but I want to say like atomic space, um, and then what's after space? I think atomic space and the ups and downs of those in between. So what? Global. Let's say global to um, what's before informational age? Cold War, maybe something like that. I think that's where a lot of players are. So these numbers kind of make sense. I do feel like if you asked all automaton, if I'm saying it right, all auto age players, I think these numbers would be way different. I think it'd be much higher favors defense, much lower favors offense, like maybe like 15, maybe 15% something. But anyways, so I mean, yeah, I mean, I haven't been back too long, but I mean, defense looks pretty strong, and it's probably the first time in the game's history defense was ever this strong. It's always been an offensive game, always. Um, I do want to comment and say it is funny that they I guess it seems like they addressed how strong defense is quite quickly. I guess maybe there's really been a lot of discussions about how strong it is, which it makes sense, but um because if I've heard things like, you got offensive bases, you got defensive bases. Those players play the roles. So offensive player in most cases will play three offensive coalitions and they'll attack the strongest base they can handle, which is usually, their age. Maybe they'll go an age higher. Usually not likely, but you know, they attack the 3D bases, and and then typically a 3-0 base is easier to take down. So the role of a 3-0 player, attack 3D and hope you can defend, right? So a 3D player, defensive player, plays a 3D. They go to defend, and they would typically attack 3-0 players or players with no defensive coalitions. That's kind of what, that's the roles that war has held in this game since wars came out till now, and it will probably always be like that. But for what I'm hearing is it's even difficult for the 3D players to take out 3.0 bases with manufacturing and with how beefy everything is. So maybe that's why it really disrupted the flow of the game that's kind of been set in stone. But I mean, yeah, 42% that's quite a large number. Maybe that's why they really addressed this. So they probably seen those numbers and then they were like, wow, a lot of people are saying defense is strong. What? Why? Why do you feel it's that strong? So this is why we got this chart right here. So we got another nice little pie chart here with quite a bit of votes. So let's look at this. Key difficulties for attackers. So we got defenders. So this is a lot. It's actually quite a bit of votes. What is this? 5, 9, 13, 17. I mean, 18,000 votes. Something like that. 18,000. Yeah, I mean, that's quite a bit of votes. But so we got. I mean, they all look pretty close. I mean, it's really close. So defenders, yeah. I mean, yeah, for sure. With the constant wave of defenders in spawn time coming out, yeah, that makes sense. Defenders is one. Anti-aircraft buildings, I mean, that makes sense too because as long as you have stuff in the sky, I mean, you're still kind of going pretty strong. So it's usually, I mean, if it wasn't for defenders, anti-aircraft definitely would be number one. 3, missile silo. That is probably, I can only assume Missile Silo is still this high. One, because it has a lot of damage, obviously. But the meta of the game has shifted away from heavy tanks. I don't know, it had been a while ago. It shifted away from that, and it's now to what we used to call a mixed army, which is now like the Lego army, so a lot of barracks troops. So you need that silo bait. You need a cluster of troops with high HP to distract the silo, or for the most part, a lot of people, most people from what I've seen, and this is talking about not the highest event. I won't be talking about the highest event right now because I haven't been at the highest end playing since coming back. Um, most people all like go for the silo. You know, it's their main thing is getting rid of the silo so they can drop their troops and not have to worry about um, silo distraction. But I mean, I can only assume that that's as high as it is because I feel like at the lower ish level, that's what those players do is they target the silo. Not a fan of it, but it makes sense. It reminds me of when Silo first came out and everybody wanted to deal with Silo. Makes sense, but anyways, number 4, all defensive buildings. Yeah, I mean, pretty much everything else. Yeah. Shoot, I'm surprised that coalition troops wasn't on here because those hurt. That's not too bad, but yeah, I mean this makes sense. Um, yeah, defenders hurt. I tell you, defenders hurt. Like maybe they're maybe you can say stronghold is a part of defenders too. Yeah, for sure. Yeah, and I mean even at the lower mid end, uh, stronghold hurts. It hurts really bad, and you got all these buffs, and it hurts even more than it ever has because there's a lot of HP everywhere. These buildings are doing more damage to your troops and all that. So, um, yeah, I totally understand defenders. So what do they say with this chart? Oh, so they okay, so they actually talked about the defenders. Defenders from garrisons, factories, command post. I mean, why even put command post? That makes me really believe it's. I feel like they really target at that. I just don't think they target at the higher end as much. They just really don't, because like to think that command posts is ever a problem kind of sounds crazy. At the lower end, I guess it kind of does, depending on the nation. Like, what is it? If it's like Chinese, British, like the nations where you have the buffed shooters is where that's like the only time the command post is a problem. Like, what is it? Greeks, the Greek command post, the stronger cavalry. I mean, that's not that big of a deal. Whatever. Forest defenders, yeah, that's what I was talking about. That's not even coalition. That's just straight up forest defenders. But when you have that forest defender stuff maxed out, and you see a army of human centipede tanks running at you, it's a lot. Anyways, yeah. Okay, so they're saying either way, people are finding it difficult. So fighters, a very common counter to spawn defenders, true. Face their own challenges due to towers, machine gunners, anti-air. For us, we need to be pretty careful here, as there's a certainty strength certainly strength in fighters, but the anti-air play is still a cause for concern. Yes, this is what the missile side. Missile style can be tanked by dropping generals away from your attacking force, which is something that may be easier to do with the upcoming detachments feature. Huh. Okay. Interesting. This isn't going to dismiss the feeling that missile style is difficult to deal with. Okay. The resources and troops to combat can be a high price and be very easily distracted from attaining a 5-star victory. Okay. So, I mean, yeah, I can say I definitely feel like anything you throw in the air at these stronger buildings, with these more leveled up stuff, like as in the munitions and the extra library. I don't even think there's much extra new uni that's defensive buffed that I can think of. Parliament added a bunch of defense buffs, so yeah, stuff in the sky just kind of you got to be really careful with it with how strong this defense is. Things can actually get shredded, so interesting. So now defenders. So by comparison, the defenders who we surveyed believe airstrip units were the most difficult to defend against, followed by factory and barracks units, then the generals. So it's I mean, yeah, I mean that makes sense. I mean, like I was saying, if you got stuff in the sky still, you're doing pretty well. It's almost your strongest tool is having stuff in the sky. So I mean, it makes sense that they voted. That's the hardest thing for a defender to stop is the air units. But air units do get shredded from these defenses if not played with correctly, which against top bases, tough bases, strong bases for your age and level, well developed cities. It's you can't just throw your transporters, planes, or bombers out there. You got to be real gentle with where you send them out at. So makes sense. Okay, so the factory units being over barracks units is interesting. This makes me feel like they grabbed this information a while ago, or they're really that like they've really had a lot of people from mid age do this survey because I mean it definitely should be barracks troops then factory. Like maybe if it was like 2 to 3 years ago, it'd be factory when everyone was using heavy tanks and bazookas. It just makes me feel like the mid ages of players, like the mid player base, isn't they're not even using barracks troops correctly because mortars are and howies are very strong. They're better than factory units right now. So I mean, hell, I'd almost think that generals should be maybe above factories. Maybe not, but interesting. So that was it for their pie graph. So then now they kind of have some closing stuff on what is to come and their own summaries. So let's see what they got to end on. Prior to the survey, we've already set in motion plans to improve the battle experience from the offensive end. Okay. Namely, the Afro mentioned detachments features is currently slated for early spring. Okay. This new feature will allow you to have more control over your attacks. I mean, what, we're going to be able to rally different sets of troops. We're going to have, what are we going to have, a rally for just generals? It's interesting. I don't know what they're thinking there. We're also reevaluating counselor bonuses, which some of which you have now with a higher focus on offensive stats or a single set of bonus for multiplayer World War. These are even new legendary artifacts in the works to give improvements to both offense for main and Warhol. So okay, so they're just saying they do want to make offense stronger. Okay. Um I do recall people quoting that we've had the same troop space since, correct me if I'm wrong, Global Age. So maybe if anything, it's time for a little bit higher troop count on our regular like troop limit. Like the 170 or whatever it is. Maybe they can start bumping that up. And and maybe like with all these buffs that defense got from research, maybe they should throw a little bit more research in there for offense. Personally, I don't mind seeing the defense is strong. I think it's a different look for the game. Um, I do think it's a little bit too strong, but I do also feel like defense in the past was too weak and it needed to be stronger. Um, there need to be more reason for people that want to play that defensive role. But right now, it just seems a little unbalanced. It's a little bit too strong. It's almost too strong to where the defenders are having a hard time attacking the bases that should be fairly not easy to them, but doable to them. And even it's getting difficult. So definitely a problem there. So um, I like it. I just hope they address it correctly. Don't nerf nothing to the ground. Don't come out with heavy offensive buffs. Don't just flip the script and put it back to what it was and make defense crap again and offense too strong. I mean, I feel like it seems lopsided, but it's probably not that far from balanced. Maybe just a tweak on the O side. Maybe not so much a tweak on the maybe. I don't. I think they should leave defense how it is and just catch offense up maybe a little bit if that's the case. That doesn't sound too bad. I don't think nerfing anything is usually a good idea unless it's just flat out overpowered. And it's not that defense is flat out overpowered, it's just all the research, all the upgrades, all the munitions, all those, defenders coming out with protect, the Alliance Gate perk. You get a extra defender with the wave, so you got two heavy tanks coming out of the factory. Two of them are protected. Oh, you dropped a paratrooper there, hit a signal flare. Well, that's 3 heavy tanks. I mean, yeah, there's a lot of crazy defense research. So I hope I hope they address it correctly and nothing too drastic. But anyways, so here's what they expect. Here's what we expect to see from them in the future. Tournament of Glory releases. Was that the next update? A more competitive World War experience. Hmm. Watch it just be you go into war like clicking like 0 SH or limiting yourself and you play limited, because I mean, surely they notice ever since, maybe not ever since Stronghold came out, but for the most of the time Stronghold's been out, there's teams that ask for deals. Could you guys want to agree to 0 Stronghold troops in your Stronghold? Yeah, let's do it. So that's something that the people have come to agree on and make amends to and play by that respect. So maybe through all this time of the people doing that, maybe they'll just implement a type of war where it's, I mean, I don't know, that's the only thing I can think of. I have no clue what outside of that what they got going on. But I mean, that wouldn't be bad. I think it'd probably be maybe be a bit underwhelming if that's all it was. It was just kind of like a early agreement to 0 SH or ESH, whatever. But anyways, first wave of replay improvements. Oh my gosh. Their first wave? Nah, I'm just joking. I wanted to make it sound like that was the first time they ever tried to improve it. Probably not the case, but who knows? But huge. We need replay improvements. I don't even think you can watch a replay anymore and have it be accurate. It's just impossible. It's never accurate. I even watch my own attacks back, not accurate. Like it's how do you expect people to learn, Learn from their mistakes or how other people play when you see someone rally a building that gets destroyed early in a replay, so their rally turns into a floor rally and the whole attack gets messed up. The replay just isn't wrong, and that happens a lot. So yeah, they need to fix replays. Like let us watch replays live as they happen or something. Like couldn't they do that and then save that actual replay and that be the replay? I don't know, but maybe every time you watch a replay, it's a new replay. You know what I mean? Like, who knows what the troops are going to do? But whatever. Detachments will give players more control of their armies, keeping a group of units focused on a target while another group distracts the defenders is but one simple example of this feature. More important information will be coming soon with the release of the currently planned for March. Oh my gosh! All right, we got a while for that. Ugh. Evaluating unit balance with the intent to give usability across more compositions and allowing underutilized troops to scale alongside more popular troops. I mean, at this point, what's underused? I mean, quite a bit. I mean, in the factory, regular tanks, armored vehicles, uh, I mean, the shooters. I mean, I don't. I think barracks troops are fine. I don't know. I don't know how I feel. I mean, they're gonna attack heli. I mean, a lot of things are fine. They fixed attack heli in the past just to make it busted for like a few months or however long it was. So I I hope they do that one correctly too. I mean, if anything, mortars and mortars are too strong. If anything. But Maybe it'll be like the rise of assault vehicle. Maybe machine gunners will be good. Um, maybe a buff to Zook. I mean, but Zooks are. I don't know. I don't know how I feel about that. Don't know how I feel about that. I have to like play more and really see. I haven't. There's a lot of troops I haven't used yet. So since coming back. So, anyways, our next survey will focus on the unit updates that we release in 12.13. Okay, so their next survey is going to be talking about the balance that they're going to propose to us with the troops. So, looking forward to that. I don't know. This was good though. Like them actually addressing this is something that's none of us are used to. So it's a good start to 2025. I'm digging it. I'm looking forward to that next survey. I'm definitely gonna partake in that, and hopefully you guys do too. But yeah, I think that's it. Um, yeah, definitely. What do you guys think of this? Do you agree with these numbers and all that? What do you think? Let me know. Anyways, take care.